Aloha, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, fellow Wing Chunners, fellow Gung Fu, fellow martial art practitioners, lovers, enthusiasts. Welcome. This is the Sifu Z 50/50 ritual. And we're here. You're here. So if you're new to this channel, this is a live stream, scheduled live stream. We do this every Friday at 9:30 Pacific Standard Time. And aloha, Justin. And we'll get started in just a second. So get set up and let me know when you're ready to go. Also, let me know that you can hear me and that we're streaming okay. And if you got a chance, give this a thumbs up. So, if you're new to the channel, this is the Sifu Z 50/50 ritual, and it is in respect to martial art inspired training. So it really doesn't matter what martial art you come from. This is all about sharing. And thank you, Justin. This is all about sharing the exercises that we all do as martial artists. And this is a platform specifically for that. Now, it's called the 50/50 ritual because half of this training is open to everybody. And then the other half we do in privacy as Wing Chun practitioners over at patreon.com/SifuZ. That's capital S, lowercase IFU, uppercase Z, or Z in other parts of the world. So I want to ask you a question, Justin. What is the most common thing you hear about Wing Chun? Felix, aloha. What is the most common thing that you hear about Wing Chun or martial arts that you think that people don't have right? You know what I'm saying? Perhaps the most common misconception in Wing Chun and or martial arts. And anyone can join in here. I asked this of Justin, but we can extend that question out to anybody. And very soon we're going to start the martial art exercise. We are 2 minutes into this stream. Aloha, Felix. Aloha, Elodie. I'm just going to mispronounce your first name, but aloha and welcome. So, in fact, let's get going right now. You know, we don't have all the time in the world here. Let's get into now. This is, of course, for your entertainment purposes only, entertainment and educational purposes only. Train at your own risk. So, Bruce Lee is better than It Man. You've heard that. Oh my goodness. Well, that's just uh, a horrible misconception. I can't believe that you heard that. Now, if you're new, if you're not familiar with horse stance, what we do, at least this is how we do it. There's many ways you can do a horse stance or even squatting, right? You do it dynamically. But here, we're standing upright and we're allowing our wrists to go down to our knees. So the knees down to the wrist. That's how we gauge how far we go down. All right. Now, Justin, feel free to get rid of anyone that really doesn't understand what's going on. Now, horse stance is a it's a static exercise, it's not a dynamic exercise. It's not like, you know, doing squats. And this static exercise, if you want to call it that, is really good to help develop the tendons and the joints and the ligaments. This is where you get your long term strength from. Your muscles, they're pretty quick. Yeah, your muscle strength will die pretty quickly in comparison to your tendon or your ligament strength, or even your skeletal strength for that matter. And let's do a little stretch on top of this, pulling the fingers back. This is all good modern day exercises, even if you don't do martial arts, especially if you're like a keyboard warrior, like a particular participant is here. In fact, here, let me just go ahead and take care of this particular individual. There we go. Now, any of you that have any questions, feel free to ask. And it's funny, I don't have my sandbag today. I have water, but I do have my skate shoes. I think skate shoes are the best Wing Chun martial art style shoes. Now, if you guys want, you can maintain that pose. I wanted to talk real quickly. Well, I wanted to go over this. It's a very important aspect of our martial arts, and I'm sure there's elements of it in all martial arts. I've trained in jujitsu and in boxing, wrestling, and I'm sure there's elements of this as well in those martial arts. If you're not doing a horse stance, I would suggest uh, also checking this out. This is called the Kimi Ma, and I've got a lot of videos up on our channel regarding the Kimi Ma or the goat grasping or sheep grasping. I think it's goat grasping, the goat grasping stance. I wanted to talk about the very root of Wing Chun because it's known to be about 400-year-old Chinese martial art, but it really goes back to just the beginning of human. It's quite fascinating. And especially as the human is developing and as we start proliferating the planet and becoming stewards and rulers, if you will, of the planet. Some might argue ruiners of the planet, but we don't need to go there. I'm not going to go too far back in history, but let's just go back to early Buddhism. And one of the main practices of Buddhism, which is meditation. Now, the meditation that we're all familiar with these days, sort of a sitting meditation where you focus on your breath, stuff like that. Now, this style of meditation, very beneficial, by the way, it's been spiritualized and bastardized in all ways, shapes, and forms, of course. But as a tool to help you to control this thing that we have called our brain, our thoughts, our emotions, our intellect, it's a very powerful tool. And in fact, I would assume that people that wanted to take power over you would sort of gloss over this little exercise of being able to control your thoughts and your emotions and your intellect. And control might not be exactly the right word we want to use here, but we won't go searching for words right now. Control's good enough, right? To be able to control your emotions, be able to control your reactions, your behaviors, your thoughts, especially negative thinking. Not stop them necessarily, because it's not what you want to do with your thought process. You want to allow things to move through. Now, this is a much more difficult thing than, especially these days, than you could imagine. In Buddhism, they would spend hours, especially Zen Buddhism, they would spend hours, days, maybe even weeks in silent meditation. It was very difficult to get people to train in this method, simply because a lot of times when they do that, they kind of fall asleep. And so the old joke was that ponytail that they had in the old Chinese days. They had that long ponytail, and they would tie the ponytail up so they would keep their heads up from falling asleep during meditation. I'm not quite sure if that's true or not. However, there was a thing that was very effective in doing two things in this exercise, this meditation. With Wing Chun, we're introduced to this thing called Kimyama, or a standing meditation. What I'm doing right now. I'm standing. Now, I'm not meditating right now, I'm communicating with you, but you in this stance, listening to me, is a form of meditation. And then, of course, we go silent with it. Once you understand the postures, right? Then you're not thinking about those, you're just doing them. Now, one of the great things about Wing Chun as a method of meditation over a sitting, breathing meditation, let's say. I'm sure there's a lot of versions, a lot of different names for it. But one of the challenges is, especially in this day and age, it affects at least 50% of human beings, if not more. And that is the brain is just constantly saying stuff. You got negative self talk, you've got memories, you've got biases that prevent you from learning stuff because of certain biases. There's all kinds of stuff that's going on in the brain that you're not even aware of. And this is what meditation helps with. It helps you to not push away um, thoughts, emotions, etc., but to control them, almost like a floodgate. Instead of creating a wall where they come in and then they're trapped in this space. Your meditation is creating a door, a window, if you will, for those things to go out as they came in. This is so valuable, especially now. Let's bring this back into martial arts and fighting. This is so valuable to have this skill while in battle. If you're having a challenge, if you're having a fight, there's this skill to be able to control and allow certain emotions, certain biases, and stuff like that, to come in, and then you can allow them to go. This is such a valuable skill for when you're fighting. Let's say you're in a match. I'm not a huge fan of entertainment martial arts, but I've been involved in entertainment martial arts for years. That's why I can say stuff about it. If you're in battle, even for self-defense, specifically for self-defense. Okay, let's just go there. Let's go where we really live. In self-defense, it is so valuable to be able to not have any of this stuff enter into your brain and stay there at least. Maybe let it go through and process it, but you put it in the context. That's the whole idea of processing thoughts, emotions, helps you to contextualize or helps you to decontextualize. Both are important. Now, this is what I'm going to do. We've been doing, or at least some of you may have been doing, or you've done it in the past, so you're familiar with what I'm saying here, what I'm doing. We've been doing the Kimima. We've been doing the standing meditation this whole time. For some of you, that this is if this is new, then you're feeling perhaps a little stress, a little weakness, like you'd like to come out of this, right? For some of you, you might not feel anything. Maybe you're not doing it right. And those of you that are doing it right, no matter how long you've been doing it, you've gotten a nice workout. This is another beautiful thing about a standing meditation. We're actually doing a lot of internal work. I'm doing a lot of core stuff. Nimlik, Kimima, Nimlik, everything compressed while I'm talking to you. I'm training while I'm talking to you. And this is incredibly difficult training and very subtle. If I didn't tell you I was training right now, you wouldn't know. If we were doing what we call chisao, then you would understand very acutely um, the strength, the structure, and integrity of posture and movement that I'm creating here and mastering. So we're going to come out of that. Now, we're just going to stand regular. If you'd like, you could even sit. This is one of the rare times I'm going to, say if you'd like to, if you're joining along for educational purposes or entertainment purposes, again, at your own risk. Yeah, I'd rarely say, okay, now we're going to sit down. But for this, you can sit down. I'm going to go back into horse stance myself. But I would even suggest that you sit down, that you have a seat. We're going to do something that's very interesting. Again, in Wing Chun, we have kimima, we have our postures. So we're always doing something and we're quantifying it. It makes meditation so much easier. And it's almost like we're cheating, we're getting like a workout at the same time. So, however, I definitely don't want to discount just a basic sitting, breathing meditation. And I want to try to prove a point here regarding the two kinds of meditation. Okay? So in this meditation, again, I want to get into horse stance for this. In this meditation, I'm going to guide you through it. You can sit in a nice, comfortable position. If you want a lotus position, half lotus position, or just sitting in a chair, doesn't matter. And if you can be in a quiet environment, that's helpful, but not necessary. Let's commit. Let's see, we got 23. Uh, let's do about 5 minutes. I have to count on my fingers. It's so embarrassing. Let's do about 5 minutes of just a breathing meditation. Again, I'll guide you through it, but if you're ready, let's start now. What you're doing in this meditation, in this breathing meditation, is you're just focusing on your breath. You're breathing in through your nose, nice deep breath, and exhaling through your mouth. In through your nose, filling up your abdomen and exhaling. Again, nice deep breath through the nose, filling up your abdomen through your mouth. Keep breathing. What you're focusing on in this breathing meditation is your breath. As you breathe in, focus on the air that's coming in through your nostrils. Hold it for a brief moment and exhale. And feel the warm air as it's released from your mouth. Again, in through the nose, fill up the abdomen. Exhale. Just keep doing this. breathing in and breathing out and focusing entirely on your breath. Now, you'll have thoughts, you'll have external sounds and stimulus that are going to try to interrupt what you're doing. Don't try to block those out, but allow them to come in and then allow those disturbances to leave as you then resume focusing on your breath, breathing in through the nose, filling up the abdomen, and exhale. Focus entirely on your breath. In through your nose, again, any distractions, don't try to block them out. Just let them in. And the exercise is to let those disturbances leave just as easily as they came. So inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, focusing on nothing but your breath. Every distraction that comes in, you allow it to pass and you go back to focusing on your breath. Inhale, exhale. All right. Now let's bring it all back. I'm coming out of horse stance. Now, this is what I want to ask you. I realize that there may not be many of you here now that can respond to this, but I ask this of you folks in the future. And I ask this of you, Justin, as well. What was easier? Did you find it easy to just focus on your breath? Most people do not find that to be an easy task, and it's an important one. Many people don't realize how their brains and their thoughts and their emotions are just running amok. They're just they're behaving on their own. So some of you may not even realize or get the gist of what meditation is trying to do. Now, again, I'm in Kimmy Ma. You're welcome to get in Kimmy Ma as well. Most of you don't realize, or there may be many of you that don't realize how your brain is just running on automatic and how you're holding on to things and not allowing them to pass through. For some, this is called rumination, or at its worst, it's ruminating or negative thought, negative thinking. This is such a valuable lesson for us as martial artists to understand the value. I know champions, champion level grapplers and fighters. Dave Terrell comes to mind as one of the great fighters that never really got into the spotlight or given his due, shall we say, simply because he probably was not able to benefit from meditation, and then emotions and the thinking, the stuff in the head takes over, and you don't even realize it. This is so, so important and able to control your actions, your reactions, your behavior, your emotions, and even your intellect. Now, let me know what you think in the comments. If you tried this exercise, or you can just rewind this video and go back and try the exercise, right? You try this. Now, of course, you might want to go and do one of the other videos of we're just doing maybe the first section of the first form, right? So you can just do a section of the first form. You're in Kimima, you're in the goat grasping stance, right? And you're maybe focusing on Tansao, right? Tansao Fuksao, Tansao, and you're just focusing, or Hiensao, just focusing on Hiensao. Go ahead and do that for three to 5 minutes, both sides. Then try the sitting breathing meditation. Let me know which one was easier. In other words, which one allowed you to kind of open that door that allowed other distractions, internal and external distractions, to keep you from just a basic focus. And it's going to be an interesting um, little study. I know for me personally, I'm sure for a lot of Wing Chun practitioners, you're going to say the Seom Tao was way easier than a sitting, breathing um, meditation. But some of you may feel just the opposite. And then some of you may not understand this level of training at all. It's okay. You will eventually. Yeah, all roads lead to self control up here. So, all right, I hope you got something out of this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, mostly subscribe. I wouldn't ask, but we're we're over 300 subscribers. Um, so thank you to all of you. If we get to, I don't know what it is, 500, 1,000, we get up to those and we get more capabilities on YouTube. So, yeah, if you want to help us out in that department, subscribe. And I thank you. This is brought to you by SifuZ.com. That's where you can go to learn a sustainable method of fitness and a practical method of self defense. You go there, train for free. And if you want to get serious, you can join us over at patreon.com/SifuZ. This is also brought to you by Zeigler8.com. That's Zeigler, number 8.com. That's the hub for all things Z. That's me. I'll see you next week. Aloha.